as I often point out, it's helpful as we sit here to be aware of the present moment. And your presence here, to feel your presence, not your thought activity, but a deeper presence without which thought couldn't even happen, just to feel that which cannot be defined, that dimension in you that has nothing to do with the personality, but without which the personality could not exist. Nothing to do with emotions, but without which emotions could not be. Nothing to do with thoughts or sense perceptions, but without which thoughts and sense perceptions could not even be. That is presence. And that is inseparable from the depths of what we call the present moment. So, in the dimension of depth, what we call the present moment, which is far more than the surface of the present moment, which is all this, in the dimension of depth, you and the present moment are one. The realization to put that into words like that, you and the now, ultimately, in the deepest sense, are one. That I had not verbalized that when I was writing The Power of Now, so unfortunately it didn't get into the book. So there's some things throughout your life in the dimension of depth that never changes. And you can call that the now, the space of now, not what happens in the space, but the deeper space of now. You can call that who you are in your essence. Formless dimension, the spiritual dimension. And that's the essence of spirituality, is to feel that in the background of your being. And then you become less dependent on externals. And that's a great liberation. Not to be dependent for your sense of happiness or aliveness or fulfillment on external things, because they come and go all the time. Now the question is, yes, of course there can be presence while thoughts happen or emotions happen, including sadness or anger. But the questioner asks, it seems like you're describing a state in which there's no mental or emotional content. There's also the possibility of presence becoming so intensified at times that all thoughts and emotions become obliterated. This is very different from suppressing emotions or thoughts. It's simply that the presence that arises becomes so intense that just thoughts or emotions don't arise. And usually it could happen in a limit situation, as existentialist philosophers call it, when life or death situation. It could happen that presence sometimes can become so intense, or it can become for no reason at all. It can happen, and you're simply sitting in your room and suddenly there's no thought whatsoever, there's no emotion, there's just an intense aliveness. It's not, you haven't deadened yourself, because that is, sometimes people believe if you have no emotion you're dead. You haven't deadened yourself. There's an intense aliveness, a different kind of aliveness than the emotion. A vibrantly alive field of intense consciousness. So that can arise sometimes, and it's beautiful. I sometimes spend periods of time without thought and without emotion, and it's beautiful. Nature, walking around nature, or with nothing particular to think about, why think? Or sitting in a cafe drinking a cup of coffee, why think? Just be the alert presence. So you have the presence can be there without thought and emotion. At times that will happen. Or presence can be there as a background to whatever emotions or thoughts are there. So, and presence can be lost completely, in which case all you have is thoughts and emotions, and you will believe that you are the thought and the emotion. That's the unconscious state.